So something that really caught my attention at the beginning is what you said about I just want to milk that whole idea of the new idea leading us to who we really are. Like you said, go with the flow of the new idea. And I just want to milk that with you. I want to get more. Like,
well, let's talk about everything that means. That means going with the flow of something. The non-resistance of something is really what you're feeling about. And within that, there is empowerment.
mm-hmm.
Let's approach it from another direction. So Esther has a couple of new cars, and one not so new. She's had it for a while, a little Audi R8. Has a really powerful engine, and the way it is designed, the combination of the transmission and the engine, make it, and its relationship to its weight, and its relationship to its suspension, make it the most controllable vehicle that she's ever experienced. So when she drives it, she feels invincible. So the other day she was driving it, and she was trying to identify, why do I like this so much? Because it's irrational. She can't take very many people with her, just one. And if she takes a suitcase, she can't even take that one person. So why do I like this so much? And she realized it's because the engine never feels overextended, no matter what. It feels up for whatever she could possibly ask of it. There's not a hill too steep. There's not a curve too exaggerated. There are no conditions under which this vehicle does not feel invincible. And so this is what we are wanting to express to you relative to what you're talking about here. Mm-hmm. If you're wobbling and asking for something, you're overextended. You're trying to compensate for energy that you haven't lined up with through action. And so that's why you're tired. That's why you feel defeated. That's why it isn't fun. That's why you're weary. That's why you're depressed. But when you take the time to align with the current, to align with the energy, to go with the flow of this powerful energy that creates worlds, and you become the one who directs it. Esther doesn't design this vehicle. She doesn't even tune the engine up. Somebody else does all of that. She just points it where she wants it to go, at the speed and with the intention of her mind. It's like it's an extension of her, and it has the ability to do what she asks it to do. She can move it in traffic like nothing that she's ever experienced before. She can pick a tiny little window between those two cars over there, and she can put it right there, and they don't even notice she showed up. She's so deft about it, you see. She's not that car is not overextended, and that's what we wish for all of you. Mm-hmm. We wish for you to practice your power, to know it, to direct it, to guide it, to feel the ease of it, to feel the certainty of it, to feel the confidence of it, to know that with it you can do whatever you want, to not feel threatened, will it ever go away? In other words, to feel the invincibility of it. Mm-hmm. But you just have to do that. You come to that place of knowing that by playing with it until soon you are not overextended. You discover you can never overreach because you have the energy that creates worlds flowing to you and through you. But you got to figure out how to manage it. And the way you do that is by managing it. The way you do that is by flowing with an idea and feeling when you're tuned into it and feeling when you're not. And notice the results that you're getting. Watch the way others respond to you. Watch what you're doing. Watch what you're doing. Feel what you're doing. Practice what you're doing. And do it better until you're in control of your creative prowess. Esther knew as soon as she got behind the wheel of that car, she needed to figure it out. So she went around a curve, and the curve said 45 miles an hour, and Esther said, okay. So she went 45 and thought, That was easy. So she looped around. It was only a mile down the road and back. She looped around, took the same off-ramp again at 55, and said, that was fun too. She went down and took the mile and came back and took the same curve at 65, and then at 75, and then at 85. Because but she didn't do the 85 the first time. She a little more and 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 a little more. In other words, there are limitations. If you get a chance to talk to Esther when she's not in trance with us, tell her that there are limitations in that car. And she knows that. She's not ready to make her transition into non-physical, but when she does, it will be in that car. You're all glad that there's only one seat there, aren't you, Esther? And it has a suitcase in it. Yeah.
So, can we talk about it in a because like when there is an idea that comes up or a thought that comes up, when it's active, it'll come up 20, 30 times in a day, and it'll come in as just as a passing, or it'll and I guess I want to know, like, do I have to work with it, or do I just?
Well, the work to do is to enjoy the thought when it comes, and don't contrive it. Don't try to make more of it. Focus on being the receiver of it rather than the creator of it. That really is something that we are really talking about here, isn't it? Be the receiver of it, because step one is you created it through the contrast that you lived. You already asked for it, and Source helped with the creation of it by becoming the vibrational equivalent of it. So the creation of it is done to that point. The creation of it is done. Now you're wanting to be the receiver, the allower, the realizer of it, you see. And so don't overthink it. Just put yourself in that soft place where you can receive it. And if it's coming, when you say the idea comes 20 or 30 times in a day, it's worth acknowledging what's the holdup. And the reason that we put it to you that way is because once an idea comes, then the next idea that comes will have more momentum, and the next, but you won't get 20 or 30 times into it before there's a manifestation about it. So if the manifestations beyond the thoughts and the emotions seem to be holding themselves off, what it always means is you've got more wobble in there than you're acknowledging. So the thought keeps coming in response to, in other words, here's the way it is. So you're wobble free to this point, and the thought comes, ooh, this is really, really good. The thought comes, we're just going to savor it for just a little while. The thought comes, occurs, manifests to the degree that your wobblelessness allows it. So let's say that you're wobble free to here. You haven't stayed wobble free all the way to here, so the momentum hasn't really taken you into that high flying place. But you're wobble free to here. So the idea comes to there, but that's as far as you go. So the idea comes to there, but that's as far as you go. Are you with us on this? So the idea comes to there, but that's as far as you go, because you've been introducing enough wobble that you don't get, that the momentum doesn't take you to here and to here and to here and to here. See, once you get on this track, this is what we want you to hear. In the wobble-free understanding and application, you can move from an idea all the way to manifestation. Instant manifestation is something that is livable, it's doable, it is achievable. If you can conceive of something that you want, you can realize it completely, and are to the degree that your wobble freeness is allowing it. So a good way to say it, if somebody says, how's that coming along? Pretty good, but clearly I've got a wobble in there, up the trail a little bit. I'm good to this point, and I'm good to this point. Must be good to this point, because that's where I keep thinking about it. It keeps coming here, 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 here. But it's got to move to the next level. Everything has to move to the next level, or it's not working in the way that it is intended. Nothing stands still in this dynamic universe. Nothing stands still. So you are moving toward or away from what you really want. This is really worth talking about, isn't it? So what about, wouldn't it be nice if Isn't it nice that it is exactly as we are about to speak it to you? So here you are. You're on the leading edge of all of this. You're wobble-free because you want to be. You're wobble-free because you like it that way. You're wobble-free because you practice it that way. You're wobble-free because you care more about how you feel than anything else. You're wobble-free because you practice it. You're wobble-free because it feels good. You're wobble-free because you'd rather feel good than not feel good. You're wobble-free because you've been there. You're wobble-free because you believe you can be wobble-free. You're wobble-free because you like it, and there you are in this leading edge of wobble-free thought. And then a new idea comes, and you wobble just a little bit. What are you going to do about it? You're going to deal with the wobble right now at the first inception of the first wobble? We would. Yes. So that what begins to happen is the ideas just keep coming and coming and coming and coming. You will never stagnate. And the new ideas will never cease to come. So first there is the thought. Start again. First there is the vibration. Start again. First there is the emotion. Start again. First there is right here where I stand, and it doesn't matter what you call it. First there is right here where I stand, and it doesn't matter what I call it. Here I am, offering a thought, yeah, I call it a thought. Offering a vibration, yeah, I call it a vibration. Offering emotion, yeah, let's hold in on the emotion. Here I am feeling this. Here I am feeling this in response to thoughts and vibrations that might be obvious to me, might not be obvious to me, but if it feels good, I like this. So now I focus in on the thought. I focus in on the thought of the feeling. And then momentum begins to ensue. And then a thought comes to me. So Abraham, are you saying, for the first time ever in all of the universe, visiting with physical friends, that at the point that you call it a thought, it is a vibration that has been realized? Yes. Mm-hmm. Abraham, are you saying? We're good all by ourselves, if you noticed. Are you saying that an emotion becomes an emotion? That an emotion evolves from a vibration to an emotion at the point that it is realized by a perceiver like me? Are you saying that vibration is all around and that we are translating vibration into meaningful, tactile things that we are calling thoughts and emotions, but they are all vibrations that we are receiving because our point of attraction has put us in the place of calling them in? Ooh, don't you love knowing this? Don't you? So where does this put you? What does it make you think? We chose you deliberately because we know that you can dialogue about this. What does it make you think about? What are your vibrational translations? What thoughts and words do you want to say about the expansion of vibration? Isn't that where it's all at? Do you really want to explore the planet and learn all the facts and all the dates and all the history and all the places and get all the names? Do you really want? Is that really what you want to be thinking about? Or do you want to be a perceptual transmitter and receiver, and do you want to acknowledge the power of vibration? And if you've decided that you want to acknowledge and harness and flow this powerful vibration, which the entire universe is built upon, can you acknowledge that you can be a transmitter or a receiver of vibration? You are a transmitter or a receiver of vibration. Which matters most? Your reception or your transmission? It's a trick question. Be careful. They are equally powerful and important because in co-creation, if a vibration vibrates in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, did it really vibrate? In other words, so if there are thoughts that are transmissions, and if there are thoughts that you are receiving, and they are all important to the mix, then here's the question that we really want to ask you, and we know that you're ready to answer it. Which matters most in the transmission and the receiving of thoughts? The thought itself, or the alignment with the desire and source? In other words, do you ever want to think a thought again just for the sake of thinking the thought? Do you want to have conversations about facts, or do you first want to assess if you are receiving a thought that source is transmitting?
Yeah.
Stay with us, because there are thoughts being transmitted all over the place. There are people transmitting thoughts that are telling you that your planet is in peril. There are thoughts that are being transmitted that are saying that you are unworthy or that you are inappropriate. There are thoughts being transmitted about all kinds of things. But if you are accepting that there are thoughts that are transmitted and thoughts that are being received, and you understand that both are important, don't you first want to put yourself in the receptive mode of aligning with thoughts that the source within you is thinking, is knowing? And then once you're in vibrational alignment, once you've received that transmission, once you're on that signal, then begin thinking your thoughts. Now here's, we're right out here in the leading edge where we have never been before. And we are answering questions that you've been asking, because we know that you've been pondering this. You've been wondering, well, Abraham, you first you said that I create my own reality. So you made me believe that I should just get out there and think. So I was out there thinking thoughts, and I go, cancel, trying to suck that thought back, because I could feel that wasn't a thought that I wanted to think, that I wanted to manifest. And then you started telling me that while I do create my own reality, that really what I ought to be doing is receiving, that I ought to be in the mode of allowing. And so I started paying attention to the way I feel. And then now you're talking about the wobble, and now I don't know, Abraham, am I supposed to be thinking these thoughts, or am I supposed to be receiving thoughts that somebody else is thinking? What's the deal here? Well, here's the deal. You want to tune to the frequency of who you are, and then collectively collaborate with the source within you in the creation of that which comes next. Because when we say that you are the creator of your own reality, we mean that everything will come to you in response to the thoughts that you're thinking. But you are among the unique handful of people who are now on the cusp of really understanding what it's like to harness the leverage of the energy that creates worlds and flow in conjunction with source, creator, source, ideas that are important to you. Can you feel the distinction that we are making? You just don't want to think any old random thought for the sake of thinking. First, you want to tune to the frequency of the creator of all that is. And then let the uniqueness of the life that you've lived manifest. So did you get that? So now we're going to tell you why that's already been going on in a version that you've been listening to from us for a while, but it's going to click into place in a whole new way. We said to you, you were non-physical before you came into this body. You still understand that, don't you? Then we said to you, you in this physical body are an extension of what is non-physical. So far, so good. You're still following that. Then we said to you, you're exploring the variety of your time-space reality, knowing what you don't want, and therefore knowing what you do want. With us so far, and launching rockets of desires, preferences, intentions, desires. You're launching them, and they are going ahead of you vibrationally, meaning that they have not yet manifested. They actually are now. It is a now reality. This vibrational reality that we began calling the vortex is the vibrational version of your creative extension. So you've already done the sifting and sorting. You've already done the asking. You've already done the creating. And now you are tuning yourself to the frequency to allow that which you've created to be received by you in full manifested form. You see how it works? So now, knowing what you know, can you see how you could shorten the version of this in this way? You don't have to think about what you're wanting. It just happens. You don't have to take a class on what do I want. Life keeps showing you what you want. You can tell when you want something by the way your heart flutters when you see it, and you can feel when you don't want something by the way you don't want it when you see it. You can tell by the way you feel. You've got guidance within you. You always have. So step one has been being taken care of for you automatically. You pre-paved it. You set it into motion. You were born into a time-space reality that would insist on drawing it forth from you. Step one is not something that you ever again have to ever give your attention to. It's automatic. You are creating your own reality by living life here in this experience. You are an extension. It's already underway. Do you see what we're getting at? You are out here on this point where that has already taken care of. You have already created your own reality. Source has already joined you in it. Source has already, with the help of law of attraction, gathered all of the cooperative components. It's all right there for you. So what's your role? You have a singular role. It's so much simpler than you ever knew that it was. It's so much easier. You don't have to think thoughts. You just have to receive them. You don't have to get out there and make it happen. You just have to allow it to happen. You just have to find some reason in the world, scrape the world and look for a reason to feel good right here, right now, and you will have accomplished step 3 of this equation. That's all you got to do. Find a reason to feel good right now, to let everything and anything that you've ever asked for flow into your experience in the perfect order, in the perfect timing, with the perfect others. You see? So then you've got to be asking, okay, Abraham, seems like a lot of that was sort of set up before I got here. Contrast was in place. I was born into a focusing mechanism. Was just natural that I would launch rockets of desire, and you say it was natural that you all would get on board with them, and that law of attraction would bring them into a reality, an actualization of them would occur vibrationally. And now you're telling me that my part is smaller than I ever thought it was. I just have to trust. I just have to believe. I just have to feel worthy. I just have to love. I just have to find something easy to think about. And you're saying that that small effort doesn't even feel like effort. It just feels like the easiest thing in the world to just find something to feel good about. All I have to do is just find someone to love, something to feel good about, and all my hopes and dreams, everything that I've been asking for will come about. And we say yes. And with that will come a new perspective where you will stand, where you will begin now exploring new contrast from a newly acquired point of attraction. That's so big, because now you're going to be sifting through the variety in a new way, putting new things into your vortex. If we could push the fast forward button, we wouldn't do it. Well, we would do it. We would like the idea. We would like to assemble this identical group again from the boundaries of this universe in a month's time, once all of these things that we've been explaining to you with words have come to pass and are part of your knowing. In other words, what we wish for you is that you stand at the point of your attraction, not reaching for something that you're yearning for, that you want, that is undone, but standing in the knowledge that there's no reason to yearn because it's a done deal. There's no reason to worry because it cannot not come. No reason to try because it is inevitable. No reason to make it happen because it is happening. No reason to fret or effort or struggle or explain or defend or justify, because you're further down the road than that, you see. And that's what has happened with your willingness to listen to us ramble about these truths that you know at the core of your being. You found new resonance. Your point of attraction is at a different place, and that's where the fast-forwarding part comes in. The visible evidence of the shift that you have made is what you want to call life. We want to call it inevitable results of what just was life, which was what we just did just now. Finding the new relief, soothing yourself, soothing someone else, practicing the thought of well-being, explaining why it feels good, acknowledging that it does feel good, looking for more evidence of it feeling good, expecting good things for yourself and others, constantly speaking of the benefit that you see, letting people know what you see in them. So you don't feel like a puppet on a string when you align with Source and then you lead the parade, because you create your own reality. You are the leading edge of thought. You get to define where it goes. You get to define that the world feeds all of its children. You get to define that kids can wake up feeling good in their nest. You get to define. You get to define. You don't have to accept anything as it is. You get to redefine it, and you have the resources with you to accomplish it. So we'd like to put a question out to you. We would like to ask you, at what point does the satisfaction come to you? Does it only come at the end result when everybody's accepting that it is done? Or can you get it at the energy movement place? Do you feel it when you join with Source? Do you feel it when we revel in what you've discovered? Do you only take pleasure from the answer that comes, or are you taking pleasure in the question you're forming? Are you proud of the questions that are occurring to you? You ought to be, because they're inspired too. Do you only want the solutions, or are the problems good too? Do you accept all of it as necessary to the eternalness that we all are? And do you rest in satisfaction that it will always be dynamic? It will always be changing. There will always be ebb and flow. But there can be joy in every part of it. There can be joy in the question as well as the answer. There can be joy in the problem as well as the solution. Esther will always remember the day that she was dusting, and a shelf broke through a shelf, broke through a shelf, broke through a shelf, and dozens of lovely things that they'd gathered from all around the world went crashing into a big pile on the floor. And Jerry hollered from the other room, "Don't move," because he knew she was standing there in bare feet, and he could hear by the crash that there was a lot of glass around her. And she just stood there paralyzed. She couldn't believe she'd done it. She couldn't believe what had happened. She couldn't believe what had happened. She stood there looking at all of that, not moving, waiting for Jerry to come to help her extricate herself from the pile of glass. And he said, "Oh, good, something to want." Oh, good. Something to want, something more, something new, something different from before. Not a replacement of all of this. Not a let's find all of these things, let's go out and find all of these things that we were inspired to before. Oh, good. New blank space to fill with new inspiration, you see. Don't you love being alive? Don't you love being in a tangible environment? Don't you love the see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it properties of this time-space reality? Don't you love feasting your nose on things? Don't you love feasting your tongue and your eyes and your fingertips? Don't you love being in this time-space reality that is expanding right under your nose for you in the way that you are defining it? And don't you want a greater creative hand in the way it unfolds through the whole process? Don't you just love every bit of this? We do. Yeah. Something more?
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.